The atmosphere inside the modern sports arena is unlike anything else in contemporary entertainment, functioning as a pressure cooker of expectation, celebrity culture, and raw human spectacle. Long before the combatants step onto the canvas, before the bright lights illuminate the octagonal enclosure, there is an unmistakable pulse that reverberates through the crowd. It is a peculiar convergence of high-stakes athleticism, deep-seated drama, and the undeniable magnetism of modern stardom. For decades, combat sports have served as a unique mirror to society, drawing thousands of spectators into physical venues while millions more watch from every corner of the globe. The spectacle is never merely about the contest itself. It is about the narrative surrounding the individuals involved, the long journeys that brought them to this moment, and the cultural momentum that builds around an event of such magnitude. Every ticket purchased and every stream activated represents a collective investment in a story that has been developing over years, fueled by public fascination, media frenzy, and the endless debate that characterizes the digital age. As fans settle into their seats and the ambient noise of the arena swells into a collective roar, a sense of anticipation becomes almost tangible. This is where the boundaries between athletic achievement, pop culture, and public controversy become blurred, creating an environment where every movement is scrutinized and every presence carries weight. To truly understand the significance of what unfolded on this particular evening, one must look beyond the immediate action of the ring and examine the broader context that has been shaping the landscape of professional combat sports for years. The build-up to an event of this scale is a masterclass in modern promotion, where traditional sports reporting intersects with the viral nature of contemporary media, ensuring that even those who do not regularly follow the sport find themselves drawn into the surrounding conversation. It is a realm where reputation, athletic legacy, and personal history collide, setting the stage for an evening that would leave an indelible mark on the sporting world and trigger a massive wave of public reaction across global networks. As we dive deeper into the unfolding events of this extraordinary night, consider taking a moment to subscribe to the channel and join our growing community, ensuring you never miss an in-depth breakdown of the most compelling stories, cultural moments, and breaking developments from around the globe. The journey that led to this specific gathering was paved with years of intense speculation, dramatic shifts in career trajectories, and a relentless public appetite for major athletic returns. In the realm of global sports, few phenomena compare to the sudden resurgence of an iconic figure after a prolonged absence from competition. Such returns are rarely straightforward affairs. They are complex cultural events that pull together various strands of athletic history, media fascination, and public discourse. When an athlete who has previously dominated headlines steps back into the spotlight, the world watches with a mixture of intense curiosity and heightened scrutiny. The narrative surrounding a major comeback is built over months of training footage, cryptic social media updates, press conferences, an endless debate among analysts who question whether time away from the sport has dimmed the competitive edge, or if the period of absence has simply added fuel to an internal fire. The arena setting itself amplifies every nuance of this anticipation. The floor seats, positioned just feet away from the cage, represent some of the most sought-after real estate in the entire world of live entertainment, drawing prominent figures from music, film, television, and professional sports. The presence of these high-profile individuals transforms the sports gathering into an exclusive cultural summit, where the camera regularly pans away from the warm-ups to capture reaction shots of international celebrities soaking in the atmosphere. This interplay between the action in the ring and the audience sitting at ringside creates a multi-layered narrative that appeals to various segments of the viewing public. Some tune in strictly for the technical mastery and physical intensity of the bout, while others are drawn by the star power in attendance and the broader cultural ripple effects of the event. On this night, as the arena lights dimmed and the production visuals began to flash across massive overhead screens, the energy reached a fever pitch. The sound of the crowd was a deafening blend of cheers, chants, and collective nervous energy, reflecting the high stakes of a moment that had been years in the making. The production value of these modern broadcasts is designed to heighten every emotion, using sweeping camera angles, dramatic musical scoring, and slow-motion replays to ensure that viewers at home experience the full intensity of the venue. Yet beneath the shimmering surface of lights, celebrity appearances, and high-octane production lies a far more intricate web of public perception and moral debate. In the modern era, an athletic event is never isolated from the personal histories, legal developments, and societal conversations that surround its participants. The audience arrives with a diverse set of expectations and opinions, influenced not only by what happens inside the sporting arena but by the extensive coverage that fills news feeds and media outlets on a daily basis. As the walkout music began to echo through the venue, signaling the approach of the main competitors, the collective focus of the world settled on the canvas. The stage was set for a dramatic chapter in sports history, one that promised to generate discussion far beyond the final bell. Every step toward the ring was recorded by dozens of high-definition cameras, broadcast instantly to millions of screens worldwide, and immediately dissected across social media platforms where fans and critics alike waited to process every second of the unfolding drama. What was about to transpire inside that arena would not only determine the athletic trajectory of those involved, but would also initiate an intense wave of commentary, analyzing everything from the physical outcome of the contest to the visual dynamics of the crowd gathered inside the building. The moment of truth arrived as the long-awaited main event officially got underway, but the dramatic tension that had been building for months dissolved into sheer shock within mere seconds. For 5 long years, the fighting world had speculated about what would happen when Conor McGregor finally stepped back inside the octagon. The fight fans who had packed the arena and the millions watching around the world on pay-per-view were braced for a prolonged tactical war, a battle of wills between two of the most recognized figures in combat sports history. McGregor was standing opposite Max Holloway, a legendary former champion known for his incredible endurance, high-volume striking, and relentless pace. On paper, it was a dream matchup designed to test whether the Irish superstar still possessed the razor-sharp timing and explosive power that had once made him a 2-division world champion. But as the referee signaled the start of the opening round, the grand spectacle was cut short in the most sudden and deflating manner possible. Just seconds after the initial exchange, McGregor suffered a severe injury, collapsing in visible agony on the canvas. The referee immediately stepped in to halt the bout, calling a stop to the contest almost before it had truly begun. The sudden ending sent a wave of utter disbelief through the arena. Thousands of spectators sat in stunned silence as medical personnel rushed into the cage to render aid to the fallen fighter, whose triumphant return had collapsed in a matter of moments. The fight was declared over, leaving Holloway as the victor in an anticlimactic finish that nobody could have anticipated. Almost immediately, the discourse surrounding the event shifted from athletic performance to the broader, far more complicated web of controversy that had hung over McGregor's return from the start. To understand why this fight was wrapped in such intense public friction, one must examine the legal and personal storm that preceded it. While McGregor remains one of the highest-earning and most famous athletes in mixed martial arts history, his athletic legacy has become deeply intertwined with severe legal troubles. In recent years, his reputation was heavily tarnished after he was found liable for sexually assaulting a woman named Nikita Hand in a high-profile 2024 civil court case in Dublin. Hand had first brought forward her allegations in 2021, detailing a harrowing incident that occurred at a Dublin hotel back in December 2018. Although state prosecutors ultimately chose not to pursue formal criminal charges against McGregor, Hand took the matter to civil court to seek justice and accountability. Following an emotional and detailed trial, the jury ruled in her favor, finding the fighter liable for sexual assault and ordering him to pay over €248,000 in damages. Despite the civil verdict, the UFC moved forward with booking McGregor's high-profile return to competition, a decision that generated significant pushback from human rights advocates, media commentators, and segments of the fan base who argued that high-profile athletes should face real accountability for their actions outside the ring. Consequently, the fight was not just a sporting contest, it was a deeply polarizing event that divided public opinion long before a single punch was thrown. As photos and videos from ringside began circulating on social media during and after the broadcast, a second wave of intense public backlash began to take shape. While the main fight ended in mere seconds, the cameras had spent plenty of time highlighting the starry, high-profile crowd seated in the VIP sections surrounding the canvas. When a user on Reddit compiled a comprehensive gallery showcasing the prominent Hollywood figures, musicians, and professional athletes who had chosen to attend the event live, the online comment sections erupted into widespread condemnation. Viewers across major social media platforms expressed deep disappointment and outrage that so many famous individuals chose to publicly support and celebrate an event headlined by a figure who had been found liable for sexual violence. The reaction was swift and unforgiving, with users calling out the culture of celebrity privilege that allows high-profile figures to ignore serious real-world allegations in favor of front-row access and publicity. The Reddit thread quickly racked up thousands of comments, becoming a trending focal point for broader conversations about morality, fame, and accountability in modern culture. Critics scrutinizing the audience pointed out that many of the notable guests who turned up to support the show were no strangers to public controversies of their own, creating what many commentators described as a tone-deaf gathering of public figures with troubled track records. Among the high-profile names spotted at ringside was Hollywood actor Vince Vaughn, whose appearance drew immediate side-eye from online onlookers. Others pointed out the presence of legendary boxing figure Mike Tyson, who himself has well-documented history of domestic abuse allegations and a past criminal conviction. Red Hot Chili Peppers frontman Anthony Kiedis was also highlighted in the crowds, prompting users to bring up long-standing criticisms regarding his past personal relationships and controversial history. The comment section under the trending Reddit post became a battleground of biting social commentary. One highly upvoted comment remarked, "Not a single one of them is a surprise," pointing out how predictable it was for a specific tier of famous figures to ignore legal controversies. Another commenter called the VIP section literally the most unsurprising list of losers, while others labeled the gathered crowd irrelevant losers watching irrelevant losers. One user memorably described the ringside group as a nightmare blunt rotation, a popular internet phrase used to describe a deeply unappealing gathering of individuals. While many users felt that the attendance list fit a familiar pattern of controversial figures sticking together, others expressed genuine disappointment and betrayal over specific names in the crowd. Musical legend Noel Gallagher, former lead guitarist of Oasis, was spotted near the front row, prompting one heartbroken user to simply comment, "Noel hurts." NFL star quarterback Joe Burrow, who had cultivated a huge and generally positive fan following throughout his football career, was also filmed enjoying the fights, leading to an outpouring of shock from fans who expected better from the young athlete. "Joe Burrow is such a disappointment," wrote one commenter, while another pleaded, "Joe, no!" The general consensus among a vast segment of the online audience was summed up by a user who declared that all of the celebrities present were skipovers for me now, indicating a complete loss of respect for anyone willing to lend their stardom to the event. Another commenter captured the collective sentiment by labeling the whole display as plain gross. In the immediate aftermath of the bout, McGregor ignored the mounting public criticism regarding his personal legal history and the ringside audience, choosing instead to focus entirely on the physical failure inside the cage. Taking to social media, the fighter shared brief, somber updates about his condition, admitting that he was in a very dark place mentally following the sudden injury that brought his long-anticipated return to an abrupt end. The former champion expressed immense frustration over how 5 years of preparation and waiting had evaporated in a matter of seconds, leaving his athletic future hanging by a thread. However, the contrast between McGregor's focus on his sports injury and the public's laser focus on his legal liabilities created a massive disconnect. As is debated the morality of celebrating a controversial figure, the sports world was left grappling with the reality that McGregor's return had not only failed athletically, but had also reignited a massive global conversation about ethics, power, and the societal cost of celebrity worship. The fallout from this explosive evening extends far beyond a single night of athletic competition, shedding light on the complex intersection of sports entertainment, celebrity culture, and modern social accountability. When the dust settles on an event of this magnitude, the immediate athletic result often becomes a secondary footnote to the larger cultural conversation it sparks. In the case of Conor McGregor, his journey from a broke Dublin apprentice plumber to the undisputed global face of mixed martial arts is a story that was once celebrated as the ultimate rags-to-riches tale. During his meteoric rise, his sharp charisma, lightning-fast striking, and uncanny promotional ability transformed the UFC from a niche combat sport into a billion-dollar mainstream phenomenon. He captured world titles across 2 weight classes simultaneously, shattered every pay-per-view record in combat sports history, and crossed over into professional boxing for a mega fight that earned him hundreds of millions of dollars. For years, His name was synonymous with athletic bravado and commercial dominance, establishing a blueprint for modern sports stardom that countless younger athletes have tried to copy ever since. However, as his wealth and influence expanded into massive business ventures, whiskey brands, and global media projects, his personal life became increasingly entangled in severe legal disputes, violent public altercations, and serious civil litigation. The outcome of the 2024 Dublin civil trial, in which a jury found McGregor liable for the sexual assault of Nikita Hand, represented a definitive turning point in how he is perceived by the broader public. Nikita Hand, who bravely fought through years of legal hurdles, public pressure, and emotional hardship to seek justice in a court of law, became a symbol of resilience for advocates of victim rights around the world. Her civil victory was viewed by millions as a critical moment of legal accountability, proving that wealth, celebrity, and global fame cannot render an individual immune to the consequences of their actions. The substantial financial damages awarded by the court sent a clear message. But the decision of major sports entities to continue promoting McGregor created a glaring divide between corporate sports entertainment and modern public standards of accountability. This divide was laid bare when thousands of fans and dozens of A-list celebrities filled the venue, treating the event as just another night of high-profile glamour. For many observers, the presence of figures like Vince Vaughn, Mike Tyson, Anthony Kiedis, Noel Gallagher, and Joe Burrow was not just an innocuous display of star power, but a passive endorsement of a system that frequently overlooks grave personal misconduct in exchange for front-row tickets and media exposure. The online reaction from thousands of everyday sports fans demonstrated a growing intolerance for this double standard. When fans express genuine heartbreak over a beloved musician like Noel Gallagher or a respected football star like Joe Burrow attending such an event, it highlights a profound shift in public consciousness. People are no longer willing to separate an individual's public stardom from their personal ethics or the company they keep. The internet comments labeling the VIP gathering as gross, disappointing, and unsupportable reflect a cultural tipping point where fans demand that high-profile figures demonstrate basic empathy and awareness regarding serious social issues like sexual violence and victim support. On the competitive side, the sudden and dramatic nature of McGregor's injury raises serious, painful questions about the future of his athletic career. Suffering a career-altering injury just seconds into a comeback fight after a 5-year hiatus is a devastating blow for any professional athlete, let alone a combat sports fighter in his late 30s. The physical toll of decades of elite training, combined with long periods of inactivity, creates a massive barrier to returning to championship form. Max Holloway, who handled the abrupt ending with professional grace, continues to solidify his legacy as one of the greatest and most respected fighters in combat sports history, defined by his work ethic, sportsmanship, and continuous excellence inside the ring. For Holloway, the fight was a strange chapter in a career already filled with historic achievements, but for McGregor, it represents a dark and uncertain crossroads. The athletic brilliance that once captivated millions has been overshadowed by physical frailty inside the cage and overwhelming legal and ethical controversy outside of it. As McGregor copes with the dark psychological reality of his failed return, the surrounding media landscape continues to debate what place, if any, problematic figures should hold in modern professional sports. The conversation surrounding this fight serves as a powerful reminder that sports do not exist in a vacuum separated from real-world consequences. The media, sports organizations, and celebrity figures who participate in these events are continuously judged by a public that is increasingly hyper-aware of power dynamics, legal accountability, and ethical responsibility. The massive backlash against the ringside attendees proves that the public is paying close attention to who chooses to support, normalize, and celebrate figures who have caused real harm. As the sports world looks toward the future, the lessons from this controversial night will continue to echo through newsrooms, online communities, and corporate boardrooms for a long time to come. It highlights the urgent need for a sports culture that values integrity, human rights, and genuine accountability just as highly as pay-per-view buys and social media impressions. The story of this fight is not merely about a failed comeback or a brief moment of physical injury. It is a complex tale of fame, justice, societal values, and the shifting standards of global entertainment culture. Whether McGregor ever steps inside a fighting ring again, the narrative surrounding his legacy has been permanently altered by the bravery of those who stood up to him in court and the millions of people who refused to look away from the truth. As new developments continue to unfold in the aftermath of this event, we will remain here to bring you the full context, the deepest analysis, and the unfiltered truth behind the headlines. Thank you for following along with this comprehensive three-part report, and be sure to stay tuned as we monitor the ongoing reactions, potential statement releases, and long-term implications of this pivotal moment in modern sports history.